It's okay. You needed some rest.
Hi, guys. I'm doing the call tonight because Christy's in, where is she? Arizona.
Yeah.
What are you making, Nikki? You're always on the on Sunday nights.
I'm making a Christmas quilt for us, and hopefully we can enjoy before Christmas.
I have no idea.
Learn how to sew. How was everybody's weekend?
No. Still not expensive.
I like that.
Representing a career.
Hi, ladies. If you weren't on, I'm doing the call tonight because Christy's in Arizona. We're just gonna wait a couple more minutes. Sometimes there's stragglers. Me and my daughter did a little bit of Christmas shopping today. Oh, it was awful. Awful.
That's what Amazon's for.
I know. I'm feeling you, girl. I am. Like, you have to wait in line just to get into the store now, and then you have to wait in the store line. It's like double lines. And everything's already gone. I know.
Of course, I've ordered so much stuff from Amazon that boxes show up, and I have no clue what's coming.
I know. I got a package from Amazon the other day, and I opened it, and I'm like, a Fire Stick? Like, who ordered a Fire Stick? I'm calling everybody in my family. They're like, I don't know. It was somebody else's. They accidentally put it in my box. I was like, that poor person's probably like, where's my Fire Stick? The Amazon's just pouring in everywhere. But I'm getting a lot of stuff from China, and I don't know how much I like that. I'm like, where's my thing? 3 weeks later, I'm like, no wonder why. So let's just go ahead and start. So the first, I just want to make one quick announcement / reminder. If you have not filled out the survey that Fitme sent, it was probably a few weeks ago now. If you wouldn't mind, if you had time to go back in your email and find it and fill it out, because it's been really helpful with showing us, what we can do to improve to make things better. And so far the data is like kind of it's really cool to see just what all you guys think works, doesn't work, likes, whatever. It's cool. It's cool data, and it's all anonymous. So we have no idea what your answers were. Okay, so what we're going to talk about tonight. First, let's go over what we've already talked about in the Holiday Happiness series. So we have talked about the calendar method, marking off our occasions that we know that we have, and knowing that those are the days we're going to make our choices and have our treats. And then we talked about adding something in and having the mentality of doing something new instead of the mentality of trying to take something away. Doing something new always just to me sounds easier. Like mentally, I can wrap my mind around like I'm going to go for a walk versus like I can't do something. So we talked about that, and then we talked about the in-between occasions. And okay, now that we got our occasions down and we kind of know how to navigate through an occasion, what do we do in between occasions? So we talked about using the Fitme tools, the reset, pantry clean out, no sad clothes, the linchpin. What's your daily linchpin? What's your weekly linchpin? So that it helps keep you on track and going in a forward motion on your in between occasion days. All the Fitme tools, the Zoom calls, the Marco Polo, like all the things to stay connected during occasions so that we're not faltering and we're hanging out with like-minded people, right? It's easier and funner to do things with like-minded people. So this week, what I want to talk about is dun, 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 portion control. We talk about portion control all the time, right? That's what our Fitme plate is. It's portion control. So let me just kind of give a definition of what portion control even is. So portion control is eating the correct amount of food to nourish our body sufficiently. So not under eating or overeating. And this, every individual has kind of their own portion size, and that may vary depending on their, our fitness levels or what our goals are. Are we trying to gain weight? Are we trying to lose weight? Are we trying to stay in maintenance? So in general, it varies between each individual. But just in general, a good place to start is where we're starting with the Fitme plate. Tennis ball size of carbs, which is basically a half cup, which is 20 to 25 grams of carbs. A deck of cards or the palm of your hand for protein. And that's about 3 or 4 ounces of protein, which is 15 to 20 grams of protein, sorry. And then a thumb size for fat, which is 1 tablespoon which is about 8 to 10 grams of fat. So that's kind of, in our Fitme plate, we are like counting macros without actually having the hassle of counting macros. That's what I love about the Fitme plate so much. So that's what portion control is, and that's in general what is a good place for everybody to start. So where does portion control come in, for our occasions? First, I feel like when we're having an occasion, we need to have a game plan. So a game plan, we're thinking ahead, we're mentally preparing, we are knowing that we're going to have a choice at our occasion, and we're not, I didn't want to eat that. I can't do that. We're going in with, I want to do this for myself. And I think that that's a big deal in executing portion control. Sometimes when I go in without a plan, I'm just like willy-nilly. I put things in my mouth I don't even realize I'm eating. I didn't even taste. They weren't good, whatever. So having the game plan and mentally preparing and realizing we have a choice, no matter what that choice is the very important first step, I feel like. And the other part is don't get into the diet mentality of skipping meals before we go to our occasion, right? We've talked about this before. It's going to be really hard to execute a portion control plan if we are starving, period, I think. So when we're at our parties and stuff, of course, it's an occasion. I believe in enjoying our food, choosing our treats, having, there's lots of tasty food, all those things. But I feel like, so in a Fitme plate, we can use our plate as our portion control, right? Half of the plate is green leafy vegetables, asparagus, broccoli, green, yummy vegetables is half of the plate. A quarter of the plate is carbs and a quarter of the plate is protein. So a good portion control method using our plate as our portion control size is to do little samples of things. So maybe there's macaroni and cheese, maybe there's stuffing, maybe somebody made like scalloped potatoes, or, and you want to have a little bit of all of that. So looking at our plate and looking at our quarter, half, thinking about doing little sample sizes of each of those things. So you're taking 2 or 3 bites of scalloped potatoes, 2 or 3 bites of mac and cheese, 2 or 3 bites of stuffing, and fitting it into this. And so it's, you know, about a tennis ball or so. So thinking of and doing that with all, you know, all the portions, all the macros is a good way to practice portion control and still being able to have our treats, enjoy the food, and not feel like it's all or nothing and that we have to deprive ourselves on these special occasions. Another way to practice portion control is use a smaller plate. Instead of going for the big dinner plate, you can choose the smaller salad plate. That is another good way to, you know, you can only fit so much on a small plate. After you've gotten your portions on your plate, eat slowly. Be in the moment. And like Kathy said on Marco Polo in one of the groups, she said she's been trying to savor her food. So eat slowly. Eat those things. Savor your food. Take that 20 minutes it takes for your, you know, to reach your stomach and to reach the hormones that say I'm full, so that you're not going for seconds because you've just scarfed down, you know, your plate of good portion control, but you've eaten it so fast that nothing's connected yet and you want more. So it's also important, that is part of Fitme, is to enjoy our treats, savor them. You know, we don't eat them all the time. And when we eat them, we want them to be good. And so slowing down and savoring is a great way to execute portion control. And I know nobody likes to hear this, and it's not a fun thing. Also with alcohol, the portion control in alcohol is hard, I think, because, you know, have you ever seen that meme that's like, I'm only having 1 glass of wine, and the wine, you know, the wine glass is like this big. What? I'm just having 1 glass. And I think that is very easy to do with wine. If you go to a restaurant and they pour you a glass of wine, it's pathetic. It's like this much in a glass, but that's a real portion of wine. So I think being mindful of your alcohol consumption in portion control is important, because they are just empty calories. Another thing about, like with drinking alcohol, is, do you do Coke and whiskey? You know, maybe you're going to pour your Coke in first at a portion controlled amount and then pour your whiskey over, instead of a little bit of whiskey and a lot of soda. Not trying to get anybody drunk here, but these are things to think about. Are you having an eggnog? Are you having a hot toddy? Those things are very dense in calories and can add up very quickly. So, you know, portion controlling with your alcohol, and maybe choosing things like gin and tonic or vodka and, you know, soda water or something like that, that's a little less calories. If you're thinking you want to have, you know, 2 or 3 drinks, that might be a way to kind of portion control the calories down versus having a glass of wine, or 10 microbrews, which are thousands of calories. So the other thing, and this isn't really portion control, but I feel like it goes hand in hand with portion control, is eating and then going away from the food table. Plan activities that don't include food at the holidays. You know, maybe you're making wreaths, maybe you have some arts and crafts, maybe you're doing a puzzle, or, you know, just some kind of different tradition than just food. Because as it's, you know, food is, we all like to celebrate with food, and it's a very celebratory thing to eat food. It's easy to go overboard with that. So, you know, trying new traditions at your occasions with your families. So what I kind of wanted to open up to you guys is, you know, what are your thoughts on portion control? Do you struggle with portion control? Have you thought about portion control before? And what do you think you'll struggle with the most with portion control? Or with any of the holiday things that we've talked about. Portion control is just so vital, I feel like, in being able to enjoy our foods, you know, because I don't want to sacrifice my 3 holidays a year, and I don't think we need to. So portion control is big. So I'm going to open it up to you guys, and I just want to hear your thoughts on portion control, struggles, plans, all the feels. Hey, Molly.
Hey, Leah. I like what you said about the sample sizes. So like if you want the mac and cheese and like the stuffing and stuff, just do the sample sizes so it equals to the portion of carbs you're supposed to be eating. I thought that was a really good idea.
I like that with, oh, go ahead, keep going.
And then the other thing I was going to say is this is the first time on Thanksgiving where I didn't skip lunch because we usually eat around 4. So I had a Fitme breakfast and a Fitme lunch so that I wasn't eating all the food at Thanksgiving, and it was like a game changer. So
I love that. I love that because I've done the same thing, Nikki. I usually skip all the food and then I get to the occasion and I eat all the food. I can't control myself. But I like the sample size with dessert too. Like instead of having a, piece of pumpkin pie like this, a piece of cheesecake like this, a piece of pecan, having slivers. And so it fills up that quarter of your Fitme plate portion controller.
it's like when you go to the restaurants, they now do those little dessert cups. That's what I think of when you're talking about the dessert. Like think that so that you can have the little taste of everything, but you're not going home with a stomach ache and like, why did I do that? I really like that.
Awesome.
Hey, Leah. I'm gonna turn my camera around here real quick. I just finished. I'm doing some of my food prep, and this is my hand next to the chicken. Is that basically like a deck of cards?
I would say it looks shy if it's sliced thin. Like I think of like a chicken breast
This.
on there.
It's chicken cutlets.
Okay. I use my palm. Can you, Chris, you can't see.
Oh,
me.
your palm?
My
Yeah.
palm. I use my palm. And I literally think of like a hamburger patty or something like that, like instead of thin diced.
Right. It works out to be like that. It's just slightly less.
I think that's good.
So, yeah. Thank you.
I think when you're talking about protein, especially lean protein, I don't think we're really, and this may, Leah, like, I wonder what you think about this. Most of the time, I don't think we're in a lot of danger of overdoing it. If it's a lean protein and it's a like chicken breast or ground turkey or fish or something like a lean protein, if anything, I generally go a little heavier, and I don't mean like double, but that's something that when we're trying to build muscle, we know is very important because muscle burns more than fat, and just in general, if we're trying to lean out and change our body composition, we aim to hit protein. And if you're having 3 meals a day, if anything, like think about it. If you have 30 grams of protein 3 meals a day, that's only 90 grams of protein. That's a little lower than a lot of times we even want. So I think, Chrissy, if you like add more to that and it's like a lean protein, I mean, what do you think, Leah? I don't think that she can really go wrong in that aspect.
I was going to say the same thing. What I was going to say is if we're going to go over on one thing, it should be protein because it's really not. All of us, I think for the most part, women, we struggle with getting in protein more than we struggle with getting in fat. And if we have a weight loss goal, it's very important to keep up on the proper amount of protein because else when we're losing weight, we're going to be losing muscle also. And we are going to lose a little bit of muscle no matter what. But in order to preserve the most muscle when we're losing weight, we need to be eating adequate protein. So that does look a little bit shy to me. And when I think of like a palm size, I'm thinking like a chicken breast that is not cut in half, that is not cut up, that is nothing. That is like, on your palm, solid size. And even if you're eating 3 meals a day, probably if you eat the whole chicken breast, you're probably going to be just fine. Because like Molly said, if you're not eating snacks, if you're in a position where you like to eat 3 meals a day, then the protein should be a little bit higher. And that's kind of what I was talking about with what is portion control. And when I said like the tennis ball is about a half a cup, and I wanted to throw the grams in there, which is usually 20 or 25 grams of carbs. So, and same with the protein, it's like 3 or 4 ounces if it's the palm of our hand, and the thumb size of fat is 8 to 10 grams. And so that's what I was saying. Like, we are counting macros without the hassle of counting macros. And that's the importance of the Fitme plates and the portion size is as long as we're doing a quarter protein, a quarter of the plate carb, and half, vegetables, and then our thumb size of fat, we are getting the portion size that our body needs generally. Some people need a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but generally that's the importance of the Fitme plate and the visuals is they need to be true to size in order for us to get what we need throughout the day. That is like the most important part of the Fitme plate. And that's what I love about it is we're counting macros without the hassle of counting macros. And if you're getting in 3 Fitme plates a day and two Fitme snacks, like little Fitme plates a day, you're like you're doing the macro counting like gold right there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think some of my problem is kind of just like Kristen, like I'm not always sure when I'm looking at it, like, is this the right amount? And I tend to err on the side of less than more to try to be safe.
That's very common because that's what diet mentality tells us. Diet mentality tells us that less is more, which is, not always the case, but everybody needs something different. In that case, you're listening to your body too. Am I becoming hungrier before can I even make it to my next meal? Or am I like, oh my God, I need to eat right now. That maybe is telling you that your portion size maybe needs to be a little bit bigger. And so, like I was saying with the Fitme plate, like the half and quarter, that's what we can use that on our holidays. Like, it's probably going to be more than, more calories, than a Fitme plate with everything from the ground and stuff, but we can keep it in a range that is like reasonable while we're still enjoying our treats. I really like that sample size idea too, of just doing little 2 or 3 bites of the smorgasbord of everything instead of like clump. And you got this plate, we've all had it, this plate that's like mounted over and it's like white because it's carbs.
I had the same issue as Erin, is just kind of like, am I doing the right thing? Is this the right size? And so for a while, I used a food scale until I got good at understanding like what that size really looked like. It's like, well, how much chicken really is this? And it was kind of a game for myself. I was like, I think I'm right about 4, and I'd put it on and be like 7. Holy cow. Or vice versa. Really helpful for a little while just to get my feet under me.
I love that.
Leah, I really liked what you were talking about, specifically relating to holidays. Obviously, human beings going back however long we've been around, like celebrate with feasts, right? So we still continue that. But I really love the idea of like doing something different. Like in my family, like me and Kristen's family, in the past, we've like eaten, we've done all the dishes, and then we've like played a game or something, and then kind of brought dessert out as we're playing the game type thing. So we kind of took a little bit of a break, maybe could be longer, but whatevs. But, and that's kind of focused it away from food, like our attention away from food. And then we were like laughing our butts off, like having an awesome time. And, I don't know if anybody else has any things that they do. I'd be really interested to hear though, because I really, really like that idea of adding to.
Mm-hmm. When I grew up, we always used to have like 20 people over for Thanksgiving. And so we do the same thing, and we clean up, we take the break. And we always played Trivia Pursuit. and then we brought out the food too. And I forgot about that, but I remember, you know, it's like a great family fun memory that is just honest, where you kind of get to know your people. Sometimes you don't see your people very often. And I'm going to mention that this Christmas. Does anybody have any alcohol thoughts, or they have any portion ideas for that? Because I feel like that tends to be a hard one.
I just have trouble drinking alcohol in general. So like I don't feel good most of the time afterwards. So I'm like, don't really want to drink it. Don't have a problem.
That's perfect. One last thing to think about.
The last time I went out drinking, for every glass that I drank 16 ounces of water. It slowed the intake down drastically.
Agree with you.
That's my trick too. 1 for 1.
Spend most of your time in the bathroom.
Christy has that song, beer, beer, water, beer.
Yeah.
That was great for my 20s, but now I need beer water. I can't double the beer to the 1 water. I got to go 1 for 1.
Natika, I wasn't going to call you out, but I was going to share your method.
Glad I beat you to it.
I was just going to say, I was talking to somebody the other day. You know what's helpful too, like even building on that, especially if you're going like for an entire day, right? And sometimes depending on your family or your friends or whoever you're with, like, I don't know, drinking can start kind of early. We're waking up early, we're prepping food. And if you like the beer, water, wine, water, whatever it is, you know, your drink of choice, even adding a seltzer in there, you know, or like a couple seltzers, or depending on what your dilly is, you know, you're still switching it up, but that puts even more fluid into the mix. I've found that helpful.
I like that idea. And then the seltzer kind of fills you up too. I'm going to take a picture of us while I'm thinking about it. So if you don't want an emoji, you can turn your video on, but if you want emoji, then you don't have to. Say cheese. Perfect. Okay, ladies, so something to think about for this next occasion and for every day. Portion control for every day. And, you know, if you tend to err on the side of less, like some of you girls were saying, think about how your body feels, you know, throughout the day. When are you getting hungry? Do you feel like you're getting hungry right away? And that will tell you if you need to make it more or if you need to make it less. If you're not getting hungry, feeling hungry, maybe it's too much. I don't know. And like kind of Molly was saying also, and we were talking about the protein, if you're going to err on the side of big, it should be on the protein. Most of us don't hit our protein mark. I don't even hit my protein mark most days. And protein also like helps keep you full and satisfied and all the things. And so that is another thing. If you're not, you know, if you're feeling hungry, maybe your protein size isn't big enough. So start with that. Start with building that portion of the Fitme plate first, that or the veggies. So anyways, good call. Thank you guys for coming, and I'll see you tomorrow night on the Monday night call.
Thank you, Leah.
You're welcome. Night, ladies.
Bye,
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
Night, everybody.